Hi everybody, my name is Tanya Avrith and I work on the Education Evangelism team at Adobe. I am so excited to be sharing with you this resource that we created to help you get started with Adobe Spark. This professional development toolkit was designed for either someone who wants to learn on their own and go through the slides and figure it out, or if you are a professional developer or somebody that runs instructional technology at your school and you're trying to figure out how to get Adobe Spark in the hands of teachers. It was designed so that it was really easy to follow and it has everything that you might need. So I'm going to walk you through it and get you started. To get started, you'll simply go to edx.adobe.com and search for Adobe Spark PD Toolkit. It will be the first resource that pops up. Click on the link and here you have it. It will explain what the kit contains and you'll be able to click on the link to access it. I'm going to walk you through the PD Toolkit. If you are new to Adobe Spark and interested in learning more about what it does, I'm going to start right now with our PD slide deck. If you are a facilitator who's interested in learning more about how to use the kit, stay on until after I go through the slide deck and I'm going to walk you through the elements of the kit so that you can run this either at your own school in person or as a live webinar yourself. So let's get started with the slides. The slides are designed to be editable. That is why they were created using Google Slides. So there's instructions on how you can make a copy attached right away. So I'm going to get started. Thank you so much for your interest in providing your school with in-person or remote professional development. When you're going through the slides, please note that you can customize every piece of this presentation. You can take slides out, you can add your school logo, you can really make it your own, and we hope that you do. You have our permission. Feel free to change this opening slide to your own housekeeping message. You might want to explain the different housekeeping pieces if you are in person, and just welcome everyone and thank them for coming. So thanks everybody for coming. The purpose of today's session is to get you started with Adobe Spark, to get you to have a better understanding of what is possible and what the tool does. Spark is a free tool and it is awesome to create gorgeous graphics, compelling videos, and stunning web pages. Here are two examples of student creations designed in Spark. The first is a video created by a fourth grader who is starting her year with a digital citizenship pledge. I'll share a few moments of it to get kicked off.
I will keep my laptop safe at all times. I will charge my laptop every night and bring it to school. I will never put my computer on my head. Instead, I'll hold it in a hugging pose at all times.
So this student was able to add visuals, her voice, and music to go with the theme. This is just one of many examples of the amazing, beautiful work that students are able to do using Adobe Spark Video. The other examples are two visuals that are using visible thinking routines from Ron Richart's book, Making Thinking Visible, and Harvard Project Zero. These are great as formative assessments to see if students have an understanding of concepts in your class. They're wonderful to share on things like Teams or Google Classroom, or if you're using something like Padlet, it's an amazing way to check to see if students have an understanding of their learning. And they're super easy and simple and fun to make. In today's session, we're going to be looking at creative problem solving and an introduction to Adobe Spark. I'm going to walk you through the three different elements of Spark: post, video, and page. And I'm going to walk you through what the challenges are. And you can feel free to go through the challenges and participate on your own once you're done the webinar, or pause the webinar and go ahead and engage in the challenges yourself. So as a teacher, I want you to think about ways that students are creating in your school. What are some of the ways that you've noticed kids in your class taking advantage of opportunities where they can create? What are the things that they love to create most? I know from my experience, my students really, really enjoy being able to create videos, especially my 4th and 5th and 6th and 7th graders. I know as students get into older grades, they love to be able to create visuals. They love to be able to create visuals that they might post on their social media feeds. Kids love to create games. They love to play games. It's all part of what they do. They love to get on Minecraft and make worlds. So creation is a big part of what they do to learn. So what is creative problem solving? And why is this important for your students? So if I was doing this as a facilitator in my school or running this as a virtual professional development, this would be a great opportunity to get people tweeting or adding comments on the side of whatever platform I'm using. Or if this is in person, this is a great opportunity for a think, pair, share. But I want to give you some points of some of the things that I think would help you think about creative problem solving. First of all, it is definitely a skill that is so important, more so now than ever before when getting kids to think. There have been numerous studies that have shown that creativity definitely improves learning outcomes. And think about the connections to future careers. As we prepare our students for future careers, it's critical to remember that employers are looking for creativity in potential hires. If we look at education today and think about the way that teachers are looking for ways to bring creativity and creative problem solving into the classroom, it's an essential skill in everything that we end up doing with our students. Now, Adobe is known for creativity. Our creativity tools and services are the gold standard for creative professionals all over the world. So students can use these powerful tools as part of their academic journey. And Adobe Spark is probably one of the most powerful, easy tools to use to get started on that creativity journey. As existing professional tools are not necessarily the best fit for every situation, Adobe is providing new tools that allow anyone to be creative, regardless of design experience. So I'm super excited to introduce you to Adobe Spark. So I want you to take a moment and think about who are the learners in your classroom? Who are these kids sitting in your class, and how are they different from the learners that you had, say, even 5 years ago? I'll say that the kids in our classrooms are definitely a lot more connected. They are kids that will never, ever know a world without technology. These were the kids that were pacified at the dinner table with their parents' devices since they were born. These are the Gen Z learners, and they love to create. So we need to engage these kids. We need to understand what their passions are, what their interests are, what their biggest hopes and dreams are. And we need to give them opportunities to be creative and to learn how to create. Adobe Spark is a great tool to get kids creating, and it gives them a chance to ultimately demonstrate their learning in meaningful ways, allowing them to really think about how they can create and transfer knowledge and make meaning of the content that they are learning about and apply what they have learned. When we think about effective technology integration, one of the learning frameworks that I always come back to is one that Holly Clark and myself designed for the Infused Classroom. And what it says is that when technology is being used effectively, we essentially see these 3 things happen in our class. 1, it helps our students make their thinking visible, meaning we're able to gain valuable insight into their thinking processes as they're learning. We can gather so much more rich information than a multiple choice test when we provide students with the opportunity to talk through their thinking. This is great if students are creating a video or creating a graphic and putting that graphic inside of a page and to explain further what they are learning. It allows students to have a voice, and not just the first few that can raise their hands the quickest, but every learner in our class. It allows our students to have agency and be able to choose the tools that best express the way that they understand what they're learning, providing every learner in your class with the opportunity to be heard. And it allows students to share their work. When we see technology being used effectively, allowing kids to share their work is a huge component of that because they can see each other's understandings and make better understanding of what they see and learn from each other. It also helps students learn how to create. Creation literacy looks at the way kids understand how to create better, looking at design and aesthetics. So when we're providing students with creative constraints, foundations around how to learn about creativity, they learn how to make better visuals, how to create better stories, how to share their ideas in more beautifully compelling ways. So what is Adobe Spark? Well, Spark is a completely new way to think about creativity and communication and was built to encourage creativity and impactful communication. Adobe Spark features a simple and intuitive workflow that is engaging and encouraging, and it is totally free. So, how can we use Adobe Spark? Adobe Spark can be used both on desktop computers and mobile apps. The iOS apps for iPhone and iPad are Adobe Spark Post, Page, and Video. The only Adobe Spark app available on Android is Post for now. These web apps and mobile apps can be used interchangeably, meaning you can start work on one platform and edit it on another and go back and forth between platforms and devices as needed. Adobe Spark automatically will save and synchronize content on all your devices. So Spark Video is used to create videos, Page is used to create magazine-style web stories, and Post is used to create graphics. I'm going to walk you through the different tools now and do a quick little demo to get you started. So once you're logged in, it'll take you to a dashboard where you can create a project. Your options will include web page, video, or custom graphics, as well as branded graphics. So let's get started with Adobe Post. Here's an example of an Adobe Post comic reel that was used to explain the Emancipation Proclamation. There are many ideas of things you can use Spark Post for with your students. Once you have this kit, feel free to go through the tutorial video to get started. It has all the demos and a screencast ready for you to use at your own pace. And you can see it's really detailed and will get you started. At this point, let's get creating. Now, you can engage in this challenge on your own, or you can feel free to change this challenge if you're a facilitator to meet the needs of your school or your district's learning goals. This challenge was meant to get you easily started. And so you would be creating an I am a creative message, customizing images, fonts, and colors on posts. Spark Video is one of my very favorite tools. Here are a few examples of ways that students have used Spark Video in their schools. So the first example comes from a 4th grade video book report. Now, what's so awesome about this school is all of these book reports are available on the school's library website and have them all alphabetical and available to be seen. They even have a hashtag that students share out to showcase all of their book reports. I love this example because the students were able to use only icons
Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets
to explain
by J.K. Rowling.
their understanding.
Harry can't wait to get back to Hogwarts, but when a strange creature doesn't want Harry to leave because something bad will happen at Hogwarts, Harry has to find a way to get out.
What a great way to get kids thinking about their learning, and adding the challenge of just using icons makes the comprehension that much more intense. Imagine having to think not only of what you're going to say, but the visual and the keywords that go into explaining that. That's some high level comprehension right there. This is an example of a 4th grade public service announcement created in Spark Video in London.
This is a public service announcement about tap water.
We are tap scientists and... Hang on a minute, this is boring. Scrap this, let's do Tossington primary school style.
So this was a group project that was collaborated on by the class using research and all kinds of thinking around visual storytelling. Really well done. And this is an example of a high school science student sharing the scientific method.
Hello everyone, here's an introduction to the scientific method. First, you make an observation. An observation can be done by looking around the world. Here are some examples of where you can look to make your observation. You can look around the countryside.
I love this as such a great demonstration of learning and really a wonderful formative or summative assessment. These are super easy to make. And when you have a moment, go through the tutorials that will walk you through how to get started.
You can start with.
All of these tutorials are available to watch at your leisure. Here's the second challenge, and please note that if you are running this PD at your school and you want to be able to offer 1, 2, or 3 of the challenges in the time constraint that you have, please note that this is totally customizable. You can change it up in any way that you need. If you're watching right now and you wanted to participate, feel free to go ahead and participate in this challenge. So what you'll be doing is downloading the visual that you made from the post and uploading it inside your Spark video and explaining with your voice how you are a creative. So the idea is that you're making your thinking visible. You're pulling in something that for the most part doesn't have a lot of explanation necessarily, and you're adding your thoughts and your thinking processes to give it more context, which helps the person who's watching understand if you really understood what you were trying to say. And this is such a great way to use Spark Video. When you're done, or if you're facilitating this with your teachers, please feel free to get them to tweet to Adobe Edu Creative. We have started and launched this hashtag, and we will soon be launching our Adobe Creative Educator community, and we'd love to see what you create and get people excited about what they're making and sharing it out with the world. The next tool is Spark Page. If you only have an hour, I would probably not suggest that you try to get through all 3 tools. You might want to demo what a Spark Page looks like, but in an hour session, it's probably unrealistic to get through everything and 3 challenges. Now, if you wanted to just show Spark Page as its own session, that works as well. Here are 2 really beautiful examples of students who have created really gorgeous stories that they've shared. This one is Savannah Weiss. And she interviewed her grandfather, who was a Christian man who hid Jews in his basement during the Holocaust. And she shares firsthand the interview story about her family. This is such a great way to embed storytelling into history and writing into language and be able to show it in a really beautifully compelling way. The next one is Savannah's. And Savannah shares her story of becoming an artist. And it's basically her journey to where she is now as an artist. And think about that as a portfolio to demonstrate growth over a period of time. Her video is absolutely stunning, and I highly recommend that you use this as an example. Again, here is the tutorial to get you started. So if you're not familiar with how to use it, or if you want to just assign the videos to the participants in your session, feel free to use these. And again, here's an optional challenge, or one that could be intermixed with the others at different times, and it's available for you here. I encourage you to create, publish, and share. And in the tutorials, it shows you how to publish all of your different creations. Once you've published them, please, again, feel free to share with us at Adobe Edu Creative. And if you have your own school hashtag, encourage the participants in your session to do that as well. This is a customizable slide where you can go ahead and give instructions to the teachers to share with them how they can share their work with you. And I've given you some ideas of places that they can share, including Google Slides, Microsoft Teams, Google Classroom, Padlet, Wakelet, even Google Sites could be an option. I also leave you with this really powerful resource, which is a 3-part lesson plan that you can then take and have your students use the very next day. This resource is called Got Spark, Now What? This lesson is very detailed and gives you everything that you need in order to get started with Adobe Spark for your students. So there's 3 lessons. One, getting them creating a logo. The second one, having them create a Who Am I video in Spark Video. And the third, using Page, creating a portfolio for their work, and then helping you understand how to set up your brand. So even if you weren't too clear on how to get started, you could walk through this lesson with all its tutorials and use it yourself as well. And it has the teacher lesson plan and it has a student lesson plan for you to be able to adapt on your own. So it's ready for you to get started with. At the end of the session, you have some resources for you to customize so that you can make sure that your participants know where to get in contact with you. We'd also love to encourage you to sign up to get early access to our Adobe Creative Educator community, which will be launching in a few months. In order to do that, simply go to bit.ly/Adobe Creative Educator, and you will be able to sign up for our early access. I want you to feel free to connect with us, no matter where you are in the world. You can reach out to me at Tanya Avrith. I cover North America. Always feel free to reach out to Clara Gallon, Head of Community Engagement, Dominic Trainer, who is the evangelist for EMEA, and Garima, who is the education evangelist in India. If you are the facilitator for this session, feel free to go through the extra slides and customize as you see fit. So if you are a facilitator and you're interested in learning more what this kit contains, there are customizable templates for different parts of what you might need to get started. This is a remixable professional development invitation that you can create in Spark and customize. This is a customizable agenda, same as the invitation, that you can open up and remix. It has the PD slide deck that I just went through. It also has this very handy facilitator guide that has pretty much everything that I just went through and available to you so that you can use on your own to run either your in-person or virtual PD. It also has instructions for logging into Adobe Spark as a teacher or student so that you know where to go to get started. And it has a series of emails, all pre-packaged and ready for you to send out to your teachers after the session is over. If you have any questions about the session, you can definitely feel free to either reach out to sparkedu@adobe.com or to me, avrith@adobe.com. The kit has videos as messages from myself and more detailed explanations of what I've shown you above. And at the end, you can scroll to the bottom and learn how you can get better connected with us at Adobe for Education. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you got what you needed from this kit, and I'm excited to see what you create and what your students create with Adobe Spark. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. You can reach me on Twitter at Tanya Avrith. I'd love to hear your feedback. Let's get creating.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching. Click the link in the description below to explore more free online professional development, and click the link on screen to subscribe to the channel for more videos.